We've all seen the word remaster get thrown around quite a lot, especially recently. And if the comments on my Metroid Prime Remastered video are anything to go by, then nobody seems to actually agree what a remaster is. So what does distinguish a remaster from a remake or a port? I'll tell you. And what makes me qualified to be the one to definitively state once and for all the difference between these concepts? Simple. I think I'm right. And I think that you should think that I'm right too. And if you want more hot takes and unearned confidence, then subscribe to the channel.
I gotta pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
So going in order from least to most substantial changes, the first term to define is port. And basically, it's just this.
We should take
The Witcher 3
and push it
onto the Nintendo Switch.
But nobody's really arguing about what a port is, right? Except for Smash fans in 2018 for some reason.
They're the same picture.
No. The real contention is what makes for a remaster versus a remake. And I look at it like this. A remaster does some or all of these things. Touching up or polishing existing assets, increasing performance or resolution, updating lighting and shading, sprinkling in some minor new details, or adding some quality of life features to gameplay. A remake, on the other hand, is a complete visual overhaul, oftentimes with newly recorded music and sometimes major gameplay changes or structural changes. Most say that a game is only a remake if everything is remade from scratch. But I didn't pull this opinion out of my hairy walrus tuchus. Not every aspect of a game needs a complete rework. If the core gameplay and code is still rock solid, but everything else gets a total overhaul, that should get to be called a remake in my book. And allowing the definition of a remake to be too narrow has the opposite effect of broadening what a remaster is to the point that it's barely descriptive at all. Compare God of War 3 Remastered to Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary. The underlying gameplay of Halo Anniversary is literally the same. You can even swap between the old and new graphics on the fly with the push of a button. But look at those new graphics. Every last visual asset from the original game has been replaced with something brand new. This is such a stark difference from the minor visual touch-up and frame rate boost that God of War 3 was given. The treatment that these two games have received is clearly not the same and should not be given the same designation, that being a remaster. And you might be thinking that the difference in upgrade is just because there was a larger gap in graphical capabilities between the original Xbox and Xbox 360 versus the PS3 and PS4. But how about we take a look at Modern Warfare Remastered? The original game was on PS3 and the remastered version was on PS4. Same as God of War 3, but Modern Warfare, like Halo, got a complete visual overhaul. And this is not intended to be a knock on God of War 3 Remastered. To me, that's exactly what a remaster is. And if you look at most games labeled as a remaster, that's exactly what you'll find. But if you put those remasters up against titles like Halo Anniversary, Modern Warfare Remastered, or even Crash Insane Trilogy, which is apparently a remaster according to the official description of the game, it's evident that they're not cut from the same cloth. But if you compare those same titles to remakes like Shadow of the Colossus, The Last of Us Part 1, or the recently released Dead Space remake, they feel much more at home. And I haven't even shown you the worst example yet. This last title is by far the most egregious misuse of the word remaster I've ever seen. And it's undeniable proof that the industry has no clue what it means to remaster a game. Behold, DuckTales.
Thanks for the lift, Launchpad.
No problemo. Lift is one of my favorite principles of aerodynamics. Oh, say, you got your radio, Mr. McD?
Hey, of course I do.
Where do you even start with this? First of all, it should be obvious that the NES DuckTales did not feature fully voice-acted cutscenes. There's completely new background art that's not even attempting to emulate the original. There's new character sprites with fluid animations, brand new musical arrangements. The level design's not even the same. It's close and clearly trying to be faithful to the original, but still obviously completely remade from scratch. And I can't put my finger on it, but something about this boss fight feels different. Maybe someone in the comments can point it out to me. This is possibly the most clear-cut example of a remake in existence, and yet look at what it's called. DuckTales, quote-unquote, remastered. So does this even matter? Am I just a pedantic jackass who likes to pick apart words? Yes, but that doesn't make this meaningless. Language is important. We need to be able to communicate clearly and effectively. But when words are used in too many ways or misused, that muddies the waters, and your message may not be clear. This especially matters to consumers who need to shell out large amounts of money based on those messages. Someone's experiences with games labeled as remasters will naturally form a set of expectations for what a remaster should be. If they've mostly experienced the God of War 3 style remaster, they might skip out on a more substantial reworking of a game they may have really loved. And if someone thinks a remaster should be essentially a brand new game like the bafflingly titled DuckTales Remastered, they may buy something like an Assassin's Creed Remastered and feel ripped off. And yes, ultimately that's on them for not doing their research, but not everyone is a pedantic nerd with a YouTube channel. Most people don't scrutinize these things the way someone like me does. And there's nothing wrong with trying to improve the way we communicate, even with something small like video game titles.